TRIMIT Business Intelligence solution. TRIMIT BI is a ready-made solution specifically designed for TRIMIT. The solution consists of a TRIMIT data warehouse and a set of predefined TRIMIT data cubes covering areas of sales analytics, finance and general ledger, inventory analysis, purchasing, accounts payable and receivable. The solution is based on technology from award-winning time extender toolkit, which means that you'll be able to have this solution up and running in only one day. Furthermore, you can select any BI tool or client that you prefer, including familiar tools such as Excel. In this presentation, we've chosen to demo the solution using a BI front-end tool called Analyzer. Here we see the workspace in the Analyzer front-end tool, where we have shared reports and we have my reports. The idea is that the user with the report designer roles can publish reports in shared reports, and then the individual user can customize the reports to his own use and save it in my reports. In this case, we'll try to create a simple sales report based on cube data from the TRIMIT solution. Now let's start by creating a new report. In this sales report, we want to analyze our contribution margins. We therefore choose contribution margin from the measures here on the left and simply drag it into the workspace here and drop the measure there. We can now see the actual value of contribution margin. So what do we want to analyze this contribution margin compared to? Well, for example, we want to look at our different brands, our different colors, customers, products, seasons, etc. In this case, I would like to try and look closely at the relationship between the sizes and the colors sold within the individual brands. So we pick brand and we use this as a filter. We use the function called quick filters here, and we see that we have two brands available, shoes and top sports fashion. We now choose top sports fashion, and now we can already see how the contribution margin changed according to the choices and the selections we've made. We now want to look at sizes and colors, so we'll take the dimension called size, drag it in here and simply place it as a row. Now we'll see our contribution margin coming from the different sizes of shoes under the brand called sports fashion. Now, if we want to look at other key figures in the same style, we can go over here and choose, for instance, quantity and place it next to the contribution margin. So not alone can we see the contribution margin over the different sizes of shoes, but also the quantities sold. Now, last but not least in this case, we want to look at the colors, so that we can now see a mix of colors and sizes sold. So I simply choose the color dimension and put it here as a column, and we can now see both the contribution margin and quantities distributed across sizes of shoes and colors within the brand called sports fashion. Of course, if we choose the filter to shoes, we'll see that the values will change accordingly. Extending our analysis a bit further, we want to take a look at each model sold. So we simply choose the product dimension. In this case, I'll use the product dimension as a filter, which allows me, in this case, to choose and confine my analysis to look only at the model called Golf 6. So all the figures will change accordingly. We could have also chosen to place our product dimension as a column or a row, showing it down here. But in this case, we use it as a filter. Another important element of our analysis is to use the season dimension. So we'll also drag the dimension called season to our workspace, and in this case also place it as a filter. We'll confine our analysis to show only the season that we're interested in, and in this case there are no figures here for this particular brand, so we'll simply choose spring instead. So this helps us narrow our comprehensive report to show only the measure values the colors, the models and sizes which are valid for this season. Now, if I want to add a bit more high-level information in this report regarding the sales and quantities of the different retailers and geographies in my markets, I want to produce a new pivot table. So I'm going to insert a new pivot table next to the old one. I'm going to choose quantity as my measure, and then I'm going to choose the dimension called customers and pick a hierarchy called customers by country. Next thing I want to do is simply sort by quantity, descending. Now I'm able to browse the different retailers and the different geographies, seeing the quantities being sold. Now, being happy with that, I want to add a time dimension to my analysis. I have a time dimension down here which gives me a hierarchy called year, quarter, month. So I'm going to drop this up here as a column, and now I can see the quantities sold in different time slots. Now, to be able to see my time dimension outwards, I need a bit more space here. So I'm going to use the drag and drop features of Analyzer to place my pivot table below the other one. Now I can start to expand the different periods like that. Or rather than expanding, I can choose to drill into the for instance, quarter one here. That will give me only then January, February and March of quarter one 2007. Now with this analysis we can now start to see some trends. If I click the quantity measure here for January, I can add things like year to date, quarter to date and so on, but also I can choose to show the yearly growth rate. Now this will give me the growth rate of quantities for January compared to January last year. So I can see the percentage growth here. And to help my user, I can choose to add an icon set here indicating, using arrows, the trends that we see. Now this kind of overview can be very helpful, and this will stay intact if I choose to drill up again and look at a different period, such as for instance second quarter. So I still have the same measures, I still have the same color indicators and the quantity growth and so on. Now let's say we're happy with this report. Let's say we want to share it with the rest of our organization. I simply choose to save my report. In this case, as I want it to go public, I'll put it in shared reports and I'll give it the name such as sales report number 1. I can give it a description and hit OK. Now this report is available to the ordinary users depending on the user rights that they've been given on the cubes. Now I've shown an example of how to produce a fairly simple sales report and publish it in shared reports to the general users. This example of a sales analytic report goes a bit deeper, now showing me a dashboard with gauges of current season's revenue and current season's quantities. Of course, if I swap between the different brands, the gauges will show the values valid for that specific brand. Here another common analysis is to show the top 10 products in a given season. Note that if I change the season to autumn, the products over here will change accordingly. It shows us the quantities, the contribution margins, the growth rates. Down here to the left we see the revenue by country, brand and season, and this report allows us to see and compare the different brands in the different countries, also giving us details about the individual customers, retailers here. We have an analysis over here showing us products and sizes and colors. Also here we can do the selections up here in the filters, and these numbers are here distributed with an 80-20 rule. Finally, here a graphic pie chart showing us the distribution of the top 10 products. Now this concludes this intro to the TRIMIT Business Intelligence.